वन्दे गुरुपदद्वन्द्वम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् रक्तशुक्लप्रभामिश्रम् अतर्क्यम् त्रैपुरम् अहः विशुद्धिज्ञानदेहाय त्रिवेदी दिव्यचक्षुषे श्रेयः प्राप्तिनिमित्ताय नमः सोमार्धधारिणे नमो यामिनीनाथरेखालङ्कृत कुन्तलाम् भवानीं भवसन्तापनिर्वापण सुधानदीम्
यस्सारस्वतसिद्धयेव शुद्धः सर्वोद्भावलसति वाच्यवाचकात्मा काश्मीरो जयति जगद्धितावतारः स श्रीमान् अभिनवगुप्तदेशिकेन्द्रः अमृतेश्वर्यम्बा समेत अमृतानन्दनाथ श्रीगुरुः सर्वकारणभूता शक्तिः.
So out of the two bhashyas, the reason why we choose Ācārya Kṣemarāja's bhashya is, number one, it is in prose. So it is easy for us to understand. This is the very simplest explanation of the choice. But further, the gap between Bhattabhaskara and Ācārya Kṣemarāja is almost 120 to 130 years. Bhattabhaskara preceded Ācārya Kṣemarāja. Actually, he preceded even or predated even Ācārya Abhinavagupta. So the kind of insights that we get in Ācārya Kṣemarāja's commentary is missing in the previous one. Because until then, the proper systematization of the Trika school, which was the contribution of Ācārya Abhinavagupta, had not taken place, obviously. So we find in Bhattabhaskara's commentary some good insights with respect to the historicity of certain traditions and concepts, but we will find the best possible explanations in Ācārya Kṣemarāja. So we will see that wherever I feel that there is some important point that needs to be known from the previous commentary, we will I will just share that idea. So Śiva Sūtra per se consists of 77 sutras or 78 sutras. There are two such readings. I prefer to go with 78 as the number. Though in Jayadev Singh's edition, there are only 77 sutras. There are 78 sutras, which for two reasons. Number 78 itself is having a very sacred bearing when it comes to the Trika. I will come to it in the Upāya section when we speak about the Matrika Chakra. So it was more likely that 78 was the sutra, and obviously there is a sutra also available. So for what reason Jayadev Singh missed out or chose to omit that sutra, he has not given any explanation anywhere in the text. So we will go by the 78, divided into three upayas or three sections. The first is the Shambhava Upāya, has 12 sutras. Then comes the Shaktopāya, the shortest one, with 10. The last is the Ānavopāya with 46. So the reason why Ānavopāya is the has the largest number of sutras is because most of the sadhakas belong to the Pashu category or Pashu Varga. Therefore, Ānavopāya is most likely to be the most suitable path. Whereas Shakta is for definitely the Siddha variety amongst the sadhakas. And Shambhavopāya is definitely not for any of the current day sadhakas. It is only for the Divya Upasakas. So, almost 46 sutras being dedicated to the Ānavopāya section shows that this is a more practical tip that was given by Shiva through Ācārya Abhinavagupta, because we have seen that how the Śiva Sūtra itself came into being. So let's go with the Mangala Shloka of the commentary. As such, the sutra does not have any Mangala Shloka as any of the sutra traditions. So here the Maṅgala Shloka is from the Bhashya. Rudra-kṣetrajña-vargaḥ samudayati yataḥ yatra vishrantim richet yat tattvam yasya vishvam sphurita mayam yad iyantamayam vishwametat swachandadyananda vrinda uchchalat amritamaya Anuttara Spanda Tattva Caitanyam Śaṅkaram tajjayati yat akhilam Dvaita bhasa advayatma. Śaṅkaram Caitanyam tat jayati. Ever victorious is Śaṅkara Caitanya. Caitanya is going to be the central subject matter of discussion in the first section. So what is the Swarupa of the Caitanya, and everything will come to light in that particular section. But here the adjective used is Śaṅkaram Caitanya. That which belongs to Śaṅkara, therefore it is Śaṅkara. But in the Shastra, the term Shiva or Śaṅkara or any other such epithets directly corresponds to the Parashiva Tattva. So when we say Śaṅkaram Caitanyam, we have to go for the Yogika interpretation of the word Śaṅkara, which is Sham Karoti iti Śaṅkara. That which causes Sham. What is Sham? Sham means where all the malas, where all the malas and whatever is the effect that the mala has on the thinking or about the activity of a person, that when it is quelled, it is the real Shamana or the Sham. Otherwise, Sham is normally understood as auspiciousness. So that or one who causes auspiciousness is Śaṅkara. But what do we mean by auspiciousness, and how do we cause or how do we create auspiciousness? So here by the term creation, because we have to know that our Swarupa as Caitanya is a Siddha. It is ever existing. We don't have to do anything to become Caitanya. We already are. We only need to remind and reorient our way of looking at the whole world. That is why in our system we have this concept of Turīyātīta, above the Turīya. While the Vedanta speaks only about Turīya, we have the Turīyātīta. The difference being that in the Turiya Avastha, it is being established in one's core or in one's essence. Whereas in Turīyātīta Avastha, because ours is a realistic school, we vouch for the Jagat Satyatva. Only thing is, what is that Satyatva in the Jagat is the question. The Satyatva in the Jagat is that it is the manifestation of Caitanya only. So Caitanya is the Sat Padartha, which becomes Vishwa. So in the Turīyātīta Avastha, the expression of Caitanya as Jagat, when it becomes a matter of experience, it is Turīyātīta. Why it cannot be, or why is it that it is a speciality only of our system and not the Advaita Vedānta? Is very simple. In Advaita Vedānta, the moment the Brahma Jnana happens, the Mithya Jnana automatically goes. And the samsara or jagat is mithya. Because for them, jnana and ajnana cannot coexist. So if the Brahman exists, jagat cannot exist. If jagat exists, then it means that he has not become, or that akhandakara vritti has, he has not realized the akhandakara vritti. But for us, we have no problem. We can continue to experience the same world, but experience it as non-different from our own self. That is the Turīyātīta avastha. So the obstacles here means the malas and the products of malas, which are the vikalpas. Because Vikalpakṣaya is the most important upāya, which we have seen even in Pratyabhijñā. It is one of those 9 or 8 or 9, as the listing may be. When he says Madhya Vikasa Chidananda Labha, what is the Madhya Vikasa Upāya? So the first Upāya, actually Ācārya says in the Bhashya, Ayam tu Upāya Murdhanyatvat Prathamam Udiritam. This Vikalpakṣaya is the Upāya Murdhanya. So how to remove the Vikalpas? So the Vikalpa is a byproduct of the malas. So the quelling of the mala and all its effects is what is the real sham that we are speaking of. Because otherwise, it is always there. That is why it is tat jayati. It is ever existing. Now, it comes to forefront. That's all. So, Śaṅkaram Caitanyam tatu jayati. Yat akhilam dvaita bhasa advayatma. It is by its own free will, it allowed the dvaita bhasa. It allowed the sense of duality, but remaining non-dual in essence. Advayatma, it was non-dual in essence, but dvaita bhasa. So that is only an abhasa. No, it's an apparent appearance, not factual appearance. So akhilam, everything else is advayatma, because there cannot be anything apart from our own hit. So akhilam advayatma tat jayati. So where do we take this tat? Tat jayati yat akhilam advayatma tat Śaṅkaram Caitanyam jayati. So that Śaṅkara Caitanya, we are not looking at skies. Śaṅkara Caitanya is the core, the madhya. Okay. Then coming to the other 3 lines. Rudra-kṣetrajña-vargaḥ samudayati yataḥ. From whom the Rudra Vargas and Kṣetrajña Vargas samudayati, both emerge. Now, what is Rudra and what is Kṣetrajña? Rudra refers to the class of beings who are at the Ishvara Tattva level. In the Tattva scheme, in the Shiva Tattvas, we have Shiva, Shakti, Sadashiva, Ishvara, Shuddha Vidya. So, those who are at the Ishvara Tattva level, they are the Rudra Varga. Okay? The in the Sapta Pramatra Bhumika level, if we see, they are the Mantreshwaras or Mantras and Mantreshwaras. Okay? So they are realized who have already crossed their Anavamala stage. There is no Anavamala there. Therefore, the Karmika and the Mayika that they are experiencing is also not binding like it is binding the Pashu. It is it is like they are acknowledging its presence for functional purposes, because they require the Mayika and Karmika to operate, or else they will be pushed to the Sadashiva Tattva level, okay, wherein their operations cannot be directly with the world. So Rudra Varga is one class. Kṣetrajña Varga is all the Pashus. Why? Because Kshetra refers to body. Kṣetrajña, one who engages in cognitive activities while being in a Sharira. Therefore, he is Kṣetrajña. So, when we say Kshetram Janati, it means not only knowing just the Sharira, but using Sharira to know everything else. It can be any Sharira, not necessarily the human one. Only thing is,
Kshetra is the manifested world completely, or only the manifested body?
yes, see, that is what I was coming to. Kshetra refers to all class of existence wherein we require a Sharira to know. Now, this can be humans, this can be Turīya Jati, it can be Jangama Jati, it can be anything. The only thing is that the differentiation between the Manushya and everything else is we have the Vimarshana Shakti while they don't have the Vimarshana Shakti.
Also the question is that, I know maybe Panchakosha is not relevant over here, but when we have, so please, because it's my first class, if I'm taking it off track, please correct me. But what I was trying to understand is that there are people with shariras which are not of the Anna Sharira, Annamaya Sharira. So for them also, that Sharira is part of the Kshetra.
Yes, any Sharira.
So all the lokas, basically.
Yes.
All lokas?
All lokas. That is, who definitely require body, that is Sharira, Prana, Manas, in order to know. If you put it this way, then you will know that it can be any Sharira, doesn't matter. But they require Sharira, they require the Indriya, they require the Manas or Buddhi in order to have any type of cognition. So that is the reason why Ācārya chooses the word Kshetrajña instead of he could have used Pashu Varga. It would have still meant the same. But why he is differentiating the Rudra and Kṣetrajña is only this. They don't require any of these in order to operate, because they are free from the Anava stage. So both the Rudra Varga and the Kṣetrajña Varga yataḥ samudayati. They originate from Sadashiva only. Yataḥ samudayati. So this is akin to the Brahma Sutra when it says Janmadhyasya yataḥ. Janma adi. So Janma, Sthiti, Laya, everything. All the Panchakrityas. Yataḥ. From whom it takes place. So yataḥ Rudra Kṣetrajña Vargaḥ samudayati. So samudayati, and the next word Ācārya uses Vishrantim Richet, and it goes to rest. So all the other three krityas have to be understood. Not necessary every time, everywhere, everything in that list will be narrated. If one or two prominent members are enlisted, the others have to be understood. So here Udayati, that is the Srishti, and the Vishranti, that is the Laya, these two have been mentioned explicitly. So the Sthiti, the status, and the Anugraha and Tirodhana have to be understood. Okay, so Rudra Kṣetrajña Vargaḥ samudayati yataḥ yatra Vishrantim Richet. Yat Tattvam Yasya Vishwam Sphuritamayam Yad Yanmayam Vishwametat. Yat Tattvam. Okay. It is the source of all beings, understood from the first line. Yat Tattvam, that which is the essence of every other existence. Tattva means the swarupa of thatness. Tattvam is nothing but thatness. What is thatness? What makes something exist? That is the tattva. So yat tattvam, that which is the ultimate source or the ultimate fundamental reality. Yat tattvam. Yasya vishvam sphuritamayam. And the Vishwa, the entire manifested universe. Yasya sphuritam. It is the vibrant expansion. So, reason for using sphurita is to show that in our system, Parashiva is not a dormant, static entity. He is a vibrant Kriya Shaktiman. So, Sphuritam, it is his Spuratta, his Purana, that causes the first manifestation of Ichha Jnana Kriya itself. It has been dormant as long as he was in the Parashiva state. So, Yasya Sphuritam Vishwam. And from Aham, the bifurcation of Ahamidam, then Idamaham, then Idam. So, everything Ācārya gives in that one particular word. He says, Yad Yanmayam Vishwametat. Yat Yanmayam. All that which we speak of Vishwa, Yanmayam, Yatmayam, is full of that consciousness only. Etat Vishwam Yanmayam. The whole universe is nothing but that consciousness manifested or vibrated from itself. So the same tattva vibrates at two levels. At the Jagat level also it vibrates. At the Parashiva level also it vibrates. That is why when we look at the Panchakrityas also, we look at Panchakrityas being as an act of Shiva and as an act of Pashu also. One whole sutra which Ācārya dedicated. So, Tathācāyam Panchakrityani Karoti just shows that this Purana is happening at all levels. Okay, so Vishwametat. Swachandadhyananda Vrinda Uchchalat Amritamaya Anuttara Spanda Tattvam. There is no binding reason for him to manifest as Vishwa, such as Maya or anything else. He manifests as Vishwa because he chooses to manifest out of his free will. As simple as that. Swachanda. That is why he is Swachanda Bhairava. There is nothing that binds him. It is his Swatantriya. Without Swatantriya, Parashiva will lose his Parashivatvam itself. So, Swachanda Ananda. So the Swachandata, okay, his independence results in the activity. His Swarupa is being Ananda. See, so, when we speak of the Swachanda, it refers to his Kriya Shaktimatva and that being not bound by any rules. Okay. Then Anandamaya refers to his Swarupa. How is he? He is full of bliss. He is full of bliss. Ananda Vrinda. Uchchalat, which is always like the waves, okay, uchchalat, okay, which is bubbling, the ananda which is bubbling. So it is every new experience generates that chamatkara. All these terms were later on borrowed by the alankarikas because they were under the influence of the pratyabhijna. People like Anandavardhana and all, they were all very good scholars of pratyabhijna. And Ācārya Abhinavagupta himself. So all these came to the Alankara Shastra. This Chamatkara, okay, Pratibha, all these are terms of Pratyabhijna Shastra. So every moment, that joy is fresh. That joy is bubbling. Okay. So Uchchalat, Amritamaya. And there is no end to this joy. It is something that has no end. So Amritamaya. Amrita, nectar. What do we mean by nectar? That which helps us overcome the marana avastha is nectar. But here, in this context, it means the ananda which is never ending. Like it is ananta. Okay. So Amritamaya. Anuttara Spanda Tattva. And there is no other state beyond this. So Anuttaram Spanda Tattva. So Anuttara is another very specific or a key term that we use in our Shastra. Though it cannot be used very loosely because it has certain technical implications. But to say that Anuttara, nothing beyond. Okay. So this Anuttara Tattva is the 37th or the Tattvātīta Tattva. And this Tattvātīta Tattva, though I use the word 37, I don't mean it in a cardinal thing. Because it is not 36 followed by 37. We have already seen that. So when we speak of Tattvātīta, it is not transcending the 36 tattvas. It is that which is existing as all the 36 tattvas. But when the Adya Spurana, okay, is chosen again by him to be dormant, he can be only dormant. When it becomes active, the Vimarshanam starts, the Shakti Tattva, resulting in all the other tattvas down the line. So that is Anuttara. So Anuttaram, Spanda Tattvam, Caitanyam Śaṅkaram Tajjayati Yat Akhilam Dvaita Bhasa Advayatma. So looks a very simple shloka by itself. But in this one Mangala Shloka, Ācārya has a sort of hinted at all the possible oppositions or opposing systems that existed during his time and how the Trika differs from all of them. Okay. Just to show a sample. Okay. We have seen empty number of times, but in this context, let us take. So, predominant schools, let us understand. Okay, Vedanta, when we take, Advaita Vedānta of Śaṅkara was the predominant school. So, how does Trika differ from the Advaita Vedānta? So, in the shloka, when he says that sphurita mayam idam, it is vibrant, activity. Then that is the point of difference between the Advaita Vedānta and Trika as a system. Okay. Then the next very prominent school which was popular was the Buddhas. In Buddhas themselves, there were four. We are concerned only with two because they were the most powerful ones in and around the Kashmir region. One was the Madhyamika school. Okay, the Mahayana school. for them it is Shunya. Okay, so they are the Shunyavadis. So to refute their position, in contrast to our position, he says this is Anuttara Spanda Tattva. What you are calling as Shunya, it is not Shunya, because Shunya is a stage above the Puriyashtaka, above which there is the Vidya Tattva, above which there is 5 Shiva Tattvas, and there is one Tattvātīta Tattva also. So Anuttaram Spanda Tattvam, with that usage, how Trika scores above Buddha as a school. So that hint is also given. Then another
Ācārya,
popular one.
what corresponds to Shunya in the 36 in the different levels?
We don't have it in the Tattva scheme, but in the Sapta Pramatra Bhumika, there is in Sapta Pramatra Bhumika we have the Shunya.
Okay,
Shunya
okay.
Pramata.
Okay, yeah. I have to revise.
Okay.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Now in Buddhist philosophy, Spanda Tattva is existing. Is that so? Is Shuni?
Spanda is not existing as how we explain Spanda. They say it is Vijnana. It is knowledge which manifests as the world. And this knowledge is also Kshanika. It is momentary. So every second, okay, a new knowledge, is born, gets destroyed, another knowledge is born. But why is it that we are able to make out a continuity is because of the quick succession. So there is no permanent existence. It is a sequence of short or momentary knowledge, okay, Kshanika Jnana, okay, which results. So it is very different from our conceptualization of Spanda.
So for them, then time is essential factor in.
Yes.
You cannot have transcend time then.
Yes.
Because reality is so in
Correct.
Buddhist system. But then all our experiences of lokas where we can transcend time or look at time, cross back, etc., is will not be possible as per the Buddhist systems.
Correct. Then when we speak of Mīmāmsakas, for them it is the karma, okay, which is the karma, and where does the karma rest? The karma rests once again as a samskara in the Atma only. So it is the karma Visishta Atma which is most important factor in the Mīmāmsaka. So here when we speak of the nature of self as Yat Tattvam Yasya Vishwam Sphuritam, that reality which manifests as the world. So which means that it can be independent of the world, because that is the sole reality. Its existence is not dependent upon the existence of world. It chooses to manifest the world. It may choose to withdraw also. That's what happens during the laya. So difference between our system and Mīmāmsaka is this. For a Mīmāmsaka, because karmanubandhatvam has to be there, the Atma is eternally tied to karma. Okay, so that is the Trika versus the Mīmāmsakas. Then the most prominent school was the Naiyayikas, the Prachina Nyaya. They also accept Shiva as the supreme. When we look at the old Nyaya texts, the supreme deity is Shiva only. Only thing is that they are the Dvaitavadi schools. So for them, Ishvara is separate, Jiva is separate. They don't accept the Advayatmata. So to contrast the Nayayikas with the Trika, the last one, Advayatma, non-different. Śaṅkaram Caitanyam, which is Advayatma. So we see that within one Mangala Shloka, Ācārya is able to give a sort of a condensed way in which that Jayati, this system is ever victorious over all the others. Though we are not going to engage in any open debate with any of the other schools. But why do we say that we score above all is because of the conceptualization wherein we have thought of all the possibilities and we have bettered them, and because it is the fact also. So unlike the Vedartha Darshanas, wherein we will find that they have no qualms in refuting the other school, or rather there are some schools which love to do that. Okay, they have their own reasons, not picking fault there. But why is it that we don't, or in our text, we don't find that kind of engagement? There is one question that a Shishya asks Ācārya Abhinavagupta. It's all recorded in Tantra Loka. He says, look, these Mathika Gurus he is referring to the Advaita Vedantis. So he says, these Mathika Gurus, they are not even recognizing our sources of authority, our Amnayas. So what do we do? Ācārya has only one simple reason. What do we do to convince people who are below the Buddhi Tattva level? We simply ignore them.
What does Matika Guru mean?
Mathika Guru is those who are established in mathas.
Okay.
All the mathas. That was the term he used for the Advaita Vedantins.
Okay.
So he says they are all only at the Buddhi Tattva level. Let us not even bother to engage them in discussion. So, here the problem was that within the Sampradaya there was a problem in interpreting. Like for example, when we see Bhattabhaskara's commentary, we don't find the threefold classification of Anavopāya, Shaktopāya and Shambhavopāya between the sutras, which means it was following some other tradition. So he says, because there is Vigana means there is an issue with proper interpretation of Guru and Amnaya, that is the Sampradayika teachings. Śiva Sūtra aham vyakaromi. I now propose to explain the Śiva Sūtra. So the first line is asamanjasyam, a kind of an inconsistency, a kind of a differences or confusion in ideas. Vrittinam, so there has been many vrittis which Ācārya knows on Śiva Sūtra. So Vrittinam, amongst these so many commentaries, I find that there is a lot of inconsistencies. Inconsistency with respect to the teachings not being in line with the Sampradaya, the way it has to be interpreted. So, iha tattvataha Śiva Sūtram vyakaromi. I propose to give the commentary on Śiva Sūtra based on the Tattva. Tattva here means based on the Sampradaya Artha. Okay. So there is a pun in the last word. So Gurvamnaya Viganataha. It can be taken as an adjective for those who have written the vrittis, which is inconsistent. It can also be taken as an adjective to Ācārya Kṣemarāja's vritti, okay, which he is composing. So how in the previous one we have seen, which is against the Guru and Amnaya. The same Vigana, Viseshena Ganam Viganam. So Guru Amnaya Viganataha, by narrating the facts as told by or as given in the Guru Parampara or as given in the Shastra Parampara, okay, in a manner that will be more commonly be understood. So Viganam is Visishta Ganam in the second. So then it becomes adjective to Acharya's vritti. So Gurvamnaya Viganataha Śiva Sūtram Vyakaromi. Tattvataha, I am going to give a factual interpretation or explanation for Śiva Sūtra, which is in line with the Sampradaya, okay, both Guru Sampradaya as well as in the Shastra Sampradaya. So this is the purpose for writing the commentary. Then Acharya gives the background how Śiva Sūtra came to exist. This we will see it in the next class.